Thank you all for staying, even after I gave you the option of gracefully bowing out of my presentation. I appreciate that you're here. My name is Ole Helvik. I'm the lead engineer on the Service Industries engineering team, the core team at Microsoft. And I want to start by introducing some of my teammates that are in the room. I want to start with Kevin Magarian, who's my counterpart on the PM side. I can tell you why it's written that. I can tell you how it's written. Kevin can tell you why we wrote it that way. Maybe. All right, in the back of the room, I have the rest of the engineering team. Vic Rethy, Thomas Chan, David Massey, and Alvin Banat-Sloss in the back. Thank you all for being here. If you ask me questions today, I'll probably call on one of the 5 others to help me answer. I have been with, I started with the Dynamics AX in 2008. I've been with the project since then, and I think every one of the rest of the engineering team have been here longer than I have. So between the 5 of us, we have more than half a century worth of experience. Now, I know, of course, that many of you as well have many, many years of experience with this area and with this product. So for that, I thank you. Let me start there. All right, I'm going to go through an end-to-end scenario for service industries, and I'm going to emphasize the areas of the product, areas of the feature set that is new, either in the last release that we shipped last fall or the spring release that is upcoming. But I'm going to try to put it all in the context of an end-to-end process, and I hope that will make sense. So this is the only slide I have. Let you enjoy this. And then I'll see if I can figure out how to shut down PowerPoint. All right, that's my first demo mistake. All right. Let's try it a little more. All right. All right, so I'm gonna go through a scenario. It's going to involve multiple personas working on project, and I'm going to start by setting those up. I'm logged on to a fairly recent build from our main vNext development branch at Microsoft. This is from late last week. I haven't really tested very well, so it probably has bugs that are going to trip me up as I go through it, but that's okay. It wouldn't be the first time. Some of the people that I'm going to start set up as users here, and I'm going to give them names that you might have heard before if you've looked at our personas. I'm going to start with one of my favorites. Her name is Trisha. Trisha is the one who actually does work. She's the hardworking consultant on our project. She's set up with more roles than I actually wanted to have, so I will remove some, and I will basically make her an employee and a timesheet user. I actually don't want her to be in the product that much because she is out busy billing hours for our company. So I want to minimize the work that she has to do in here. I want to keep her busy doing work. But she has to report her time, so I'll keep her on as a timesheet user for sure. The next person I'm going to set up is Rina. Rina is our resource manager. She's the one who figures out what Trisha should be working on and who else could be working on the projects if Trisha isn't working on them. She's an employee as well. She's a resource manager. Now, I'm going to give her a couple other roles just for convenience. I don't have to set up a whole lot of other users. I'm going to put her in HR as well. A lot of the same related things that she needs to do to set up people. So she's an employee, human resource assistant, human resource manager. I'm going to make her project supervisor as well. I'm going to try to make her a project supervisor. There we go. There's the role that I'm looking for. So now she has those 3 in addition to the one that she had out of the box. She's going to set up. She's actually going to set up a project in in FRSI, and she's going to work in USI, so I'm going to save that for convenience. All right. And the next person I'm going to set up is Prakash, our project manager. Now, Prakash is an employee and a project manager. Just so you can help me set up the project as well and do some of the accounting functionality, help them with that. So I'm going to make him a project accountant and a project supervisor as well. Let's see. Project accountant, project supervisor. And then this may seem odd, but I'm going to make him a sales manager. Why is he a sales manager? I need for him to go and verify that our two companies have an intercompany relationship on the customer level. And for that, he needs a sales manager role. So I got him as an employee, a project accountant, project manager, project supervisor, and a sales manager. All right. He's good. I'm also going to make USSI his default login company. Doesn't have to be. And then, I don't know, the last person I got a little bit of a problem with. So I got this nephew. His name is Ted. He's, I don't know, he's not good for anything really. But his sister keeps giving me a hard time. She really wants me to try to find some work for him. Now, I would love to go hire him, but nepotism rules being what they are, I'd get in trouble for it. But I can bring him in some days to do a little bit of work for me, so I'm going to do that. But I can't. I got to sort of keep it a little bit under the radar here. So I'm going to do something that I'm not supposed to do. I'm going to not have him set up as a person or an employee or anything in the company. I'm just going to give him a user ID so that he can do what I need him to do. And what I'm going to have him do, I hope he doesn't screw that up because he screws up a lot of stuff. What I'm going to have him do is basically just enter some time on behalf of Trisha. Remember, I told you Trisha, she is very valuable to me, so I want her to be out there billing hours. So if Ted can at least enter hours for her into the system, at least that will save her some time. The role for that is Timesheet Delegate. And that's something that you may not have seen before, Timesheet Delegate user. One of the few roles that can do something in the system without actually being an employee. And how do I show you that he's not an employee? Let's see, no, I didn't delete him, I guess. What I'm going to do here is basically delete the relationship between Ted, the user, and Ted, the employee. So you see how that field cleared out? Normally you wouldn't do this in Dynamics 365 for operations because now what I did, because I know all the tips and tricks sort of under the hood, now I basically removed that relationship between the person and the user, so now I've messed up any kind of audit history we have in a system. Of course, knowing Ted, that might be a good thing. All right. I'm also going to put him in. All right, where am I clicking? Oh, I got the pen line here. All right, I got my users all set up. Next thing I'm going to do, and this I'm going to have to do in Internet Explorer. I'm going to have to set up workflows. Title for this session revolves around resource management, as you've seen, and one of the really great features that we added in resource management in the fall release is clicking on the wrong thing. One of the great features we added was being able to have Rina use a workflow to manage resources. Let's see. using workflow. So basically, Prakash can go in and he can request resources that he wants working on his project. He can then submit that as a workflow request, and Rina can then approve it or reject it or modify it at that point. I'm going to show you that in great detail. But before I can go in, I'll show you how to set up the workflow so that she can actually go do that. And I'm going to set up the workflow not in USI but in FRSI, because that's where we're going to run our project. French is not my strongest language. Anyone here who can help me? Oh, okay. Well, that's good, because then you can tell me if I mess it up, then I guess. But I'm going to... This should work. I'm going to set up the workflows, basically. Oh, okay. I'm going to set up the workflows for both the request line and the request itself. All right, I'm just going to come to my phone. We have two-factor login for a lot of our resources at the company, and that helps keep us secure. Also makes my demo take maybe a minute longer. The workflow editor, if you've seen it in Dynamics 365 for Operations or in AX7, you will notice that it's very similar to the way it looked in AX 2012, which means that you can actually only run it from Internet Explorer. So I'm going to start by setting up the line level workflow. We're going to go in here. We're going to go into the step itself. Assignment. So the user that is going to do the approvals are going to be a resource manager. Text, you must enter message text. All right. One thing I really like about the workflow editor is I don't have to remember what I need to put in. It just gives me errors till I get them all fixed and then I'm done. And not going to be usually creative. All right, so no more errors. That means I'm actually pretty good. And then I hit save and close, and it's going to ask me if I want to activate it. Yes, I would like to activate it. Now, since this is a line level workflow, I have to, next step, create a document level workflow that incorporates that line level workflow. Nothing's like logging in when there's like, 40 sets of eyes looking at you, right? Trying to get your password right. All right. Approved. And this workflow should be even easier, since basically all I have to do in here is going to be to insert the line level workflow. We'll put it right there. We'll connect it to the start, and we'll connect it to the end. And see, select workflow. Yeah, that's right. It needs to know which line level workflow it actually wants me to activate. And you know which one it is? It's the last one I created. That's easy. All right. Save and close. And yes, please do activate that. All right. I'm going to take a quick detour after I've got this set up and just show you another feature. So one of the features we added, and that will soon be coming to Dynamics 365 operations near you, is being able to rename project stages. How many of you look at our project stages and say, that doesn't all make sense to me? I mean, create an estimated schedule. Okay, maybe those are good, but do you want to show your users user-defined 1, user-defined 2, user-defined 3? No. Okay, so I'm going to put in something else just so we can see it as we go through. Instead of in process, I'm going to call this released. And instead of user-defined status 1, I'm going to call this tech. I'm going to type into another field. And I'm going to call this. Any suggestions? What should I call this? You were almost going to raise your hand. Do you have a suggestion? Oh, yeah. Me? Yeah.
Bug fix.
Bug fix. All right. We're stick with those two. That's probably enough. So that's a new feature.
Don't you want to add stages?
I'm not going to add any stages at this point. I'm just basically renaming them in here. So the stage that you see all the way to your left, that's the internal system name, and that's the only one you're seeing in the current version.
Sorry, I mean, you don't want to click any box.
Oh, yeah. Good point. So you can actually see it. Thank you. It saves me from going back and wondering why I don't see it. All right. So now when I go in and say I look at the project management workspace, it's going to show me not project in progress, but you can say project released because that's what I just named it, right? And then if I go into project 23 and I look at the drop down here, I got release grayed out because this is already in the release stage, and it's got bug fix as another option. Okay, cool. All right. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to set up some prices for our scenario. Our scenario is an intercompany scenario. So I need to set up cost prices, transfer prices, and sales prices. I'm going to start in my resourcing company. Trisha works for USSI primarily. So I'm going to set up the cost price for her there. So I'm going to go. Actually, I'm going to go back to the parameters form before I do anything else. Make sure I'm set up right. In the intercompany tab, I need to make sure that, we enable intercompany resource scheduling. And the default category is intercompany resources for borrowing and for lending. When we're lending to FRSI, accrued revenue is checked. Default timesheet category is intercompany. And I'm really only going to do hours in this scenario, so I'm not going to worry too much about expense category. Looking in the timesheet tab, I want to make sure that I'm automatically posting timesheets when they're approved. Yep, that's set to automatic. That looks good. All right, let's set up some accounting rules and some accounts for USSI so we can cover the cost and the transfer prices. So let's look at the ledger posting setup first. How many of you use this search box to move around the product? Good. Thank you. It's not just me.
Sometimes.
Hmm?
It works when you know what to put.
Yeah. And if you give it like half a second to make sure then you can see what comes up and posting. Yeah, that's the one I was looking for. All right. So let's see, for the cost, I want to make sure I have an all 540, 100. Yeah, that one's good. All right, let's look at payroll allocation. Since we're going to pay Trisha, that's all 602, 100. Yeah, that's good. WIP cost. I don't really look at all the numbers in here. I'm really only paying attention to the alls for most of these. 160, 100. Not that the others aren't important, but for, let's see, accrued revenue, sales value, I'm looking for all 420, 200. And for ledger account type, select intercompany revenue. So remember, this is the resourcing company, right? So this is the company that Trisha works for. They get money from the project company when Trisha works. It's being lent out to the project company. I'm going to add a couple lines here. Since the borrowing company in our scenario is FRSI. I think I have one. There we go. And I'm going to add a catch-all so that by default that gets posted to 1 through 3 to 50. And then I'm going to add another one. And this is kind of cool. This is kind of new. And let's see here. I'm looking at table. And I'm looking for basically a specific category. I'm going to pick consulting, I think. Yeah, management consulting. So 133, 350. So in other words, when Trisha posts, or when she posts hours of category consulting or consult, that revenue will be posted to 133, 350. For anything else that she captures hours for, it'll be at 133, 250. So a little more granular setup there. I have an option to. Let me show you what else I have. So this would be each project, you said? Category group. Category group, yeah. It's category and category group. Yeah. All right. Okay, so that's in USSI. Let's see. I didn't set up prices yet. All right, so let's set up accounting rules and accounts in FRSI as well. I'm actually going to start by setting up a new project group. Yeah, and I can never find anything, so let me just type in project group. There we go. It's under posting, of course. Yeah, that's the other good thing, right? You go in here and you see, and I can see the whole path, so next time when I click around, if I was smarter, I would have learned. Okay, I'm going to set a new one. I'm going to call it T, time materials, hours. And time materials, project type. I'm going to make sure that I'm posting to profit and loss for my hours. And for revenue accounts, I'm going to put invoiced revenue in 411100. Okay, that's my new project group. Now let's go back to ledger posting setup. go. And this is the cost for the project company. Legal entity, let's see, cost accounts. We're going to set up intercompany cost. And I have a default record there, so if it's just internal to my company. But in this case, the cost is basically coming from USSI, where Trisha is working. All. And I'm going to put that in 186,040. All right. Now I'm going to do the. Actually, let me do that as Prakash. Here's Prakash. I'm going to go in and verify the sales relationship between these two customers. You may remember that I set him up as a sales manager, and this is the reason that I did so. Wait, what? That wasn't what I was going. USSI. All right. Okay. Not really sure what I was typing there, but I'm going to find all customers, and then I'm going to look for the customer that corresponds to the project entity. And I just happen to remember that is this company, Contoso Consulting in France. And do I have an intercompany relationship with them? General, setup, intercompany. It looks like I do. And here's my company, here's the French company, and the opposite, basically. So this would be the customer in FRSI that corresponds to the lending company's legal entity. All right. All right. Next thing we need to do, we need to set up resource prices. And again, I'm only really going to focus on hours. There we go. And I'm going to set up the price for Trisha. Oh, okay. And I'm going to set her cost price to $75. And then I'm going to also set up her sales price. Or sorry, not the sales price, but the intercompany transfer price. That one. All right. Actually, you know what? I have a row that already looks like it's going to serve me pretty well. Because if I'm providing her to FRSI, then my hour price is 100. Yeah, that's okay. 30% markup to my brothers in France. That's probably not too bad. Exchange rate is working to our favor, is that what you're saying? Yeah. All right, so now I'm going to go in and set her up as... actually, I'm not going to do it quite yet. I'm going to do something else first. I'm actually going to do something that may seem a little unusual, but I'm going to set Trisha up to be a resource in both USSI and FRSI. That's also a new feature that is just been checked in. It's coming in the spring release. So basically, what that means is that she can report hours in either company, and if she reports hours in USSI for the project, it'll be an intercompany sale. But she could also report hours directly in FRSI, and then it would not be intercompany in this scenario. It's a scenario that I think some of you have, but not everyone. It's one that I've heard requests of. So that is why we have added it in this release. So I go in here, and let's see. Employment history. So now I'm in human resources module, and I add her to FRSI as an employee, and I'm going to have her show up as 1/1/21st of this year. Okay, so now she's an employee of these three companies as of those dates. Now, to actually make her a resource, I gotta take another step, and I can do that in a couple of different ways. The way I'm going to do it here is I'm going to go into the resources list page, but I'm going to do that in the other company, I think. I'm going to go in here, and then I'm going to find her. And let's see, I already made her an employee in this company. So now when I look at the list page, the resources list page is pretty smart. When you hit new resource, it will only show you the ones that don't already, give you an option of only the ones that don't already exist in that company. And I guess I only have one employee in FRSI that's not already a resource. So here I'm going to add her. I'm going to give her the standard calendar, and for time card purposes, I'm going to say that she works on a weekly time cards. All right. So now, still in FRSI, still in a project company. I hope you guys follow me as I jump between the companies here. It's not going to be a little complicated because of that, but hopefully it makes a little sense. So in here, I'm going to go set up prices, sales prices for her, basically, for her time. And this is where it gets kind of interesting, because now I can set up at, let's see if I get this right. I think this is, now. So let's see. Maybe easy to find her that way. So this is Trisha as an FRSI resource, and I'm going to make it a global price, so to speak. And I'm to save myself any foreign exchange questions. That'll be on a different session. I'm going to change this to be US dollars, and for the FRSI version of Trisha, I'm going to say we're going to charge $110. Okay. Whoa. All right, we can do that again. So, and okay, save the one that I entered. Now I'm going to create another one for the USSI version of Trisha. Let's see if I can do this right. Trisha. Apply. All right, so now you see both of her, but I'm going to pick the USSI one specifically. And again, not going to do it just for a project, but I'm going to do it for all projects. USD. And just to make it a little bit different, I'm going to set 125. So what am I doing here? So if Trisha does work for a project that's based in FRSI, the sales price of her as a resource is $110 if she enters her time directly to FRSI. If FRSI has to get her as an intercompany resource, then we're going to bill $125. And I hope you can look at some of the accounting later if I can get her to enter time both ways, so you can see how that shows up differently. Okay. I think this is going to be the last setup thing I'm going to do. I'm going to set up resource category validation for Trisha in FRSI. So since I'm setting it up, oh wait, okay. Parameters, general, hello, there we go. Resource category, there we go, category resource. So basically it would lock the lookup to only the values that we specify. Save that. Then we're going to go and find the validation groups. Resource category. All right. Create a new group. I'm very creative with names. Okay. So, all right, there we got Trisha in FRSI. Now I'm also going to find Trisha in USSI. So basically, regardless of whether she enters time in one company or the other, the same validation group will apply. And I'm just going to pick some categories. You may remember we had a special price for consulting, so I'll add that one. I'm also going to pick PM because Kevin is here. And maybe a third one. Okay, so now I should see 3 choices when I go enter time for her. Okay. All right, let's move over to Prakash. You can see it's Prakash because it's his initials on the top right. I'm going to let him start the hard work of setting up the project. And the project that's going to run out of FRSI. Well, let's start by creating a new contract. Project contracts. So new. I'm going to call this. If you've been around Microsoft for a while, you remember this company, Fabricam. And let's see. That's a typical bike company. Now, that's all I'm going to set up for the contract right now. But I'm going to add a project to go with it. So maintain new project. And I'm going to call this Software Development Services. So you may remember I created this nice new project group. So I'm going to pick that one. Contract that on. And now just for kicks, I'm going to make myself the project manager here. I like doing that because now I don't have to look at all the projects to find it. I can just look at mine. All right, create the project. A couple things I'm going to do. Because I always forget to enter whether it's going to be billable or not, so I'm going to put it here straight on the project. And that way I don't have to stand up and yell in the hallway, why can't I say this thing? Oh, I forgot the line property. Okay, now I'm going to change to, what am I going to change to? What am I going to set the project to? Anyone remember?
Release.
Got it. Okay, so now we got the project. Next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to add some work in the work breakdown structure. This is going to be it's going to be Trisha's task, but I'll put my task. Let's say that starts on Monday next week, since I'm going to be here most of this week. And I'm going to make it, 40 hours. And that means it would most likely finish on Friday. This is something I also did, something I forgot to do. I actually have one more setup thing that I need to do in FRSI. I need to set up roles. Which intuitively enough is in the setup roles form. All right. Now with a little bit of luck, I'll come over here and try to add a role to my project. It didn't show up because it already picked up that data before I saved it. All right, I'm going to leave that empty for now. Just save and close. And if I'm lucky, I can go back in and we'll pick that up. I'm lucky. All right. Next thing I'm going to do, time to decide who's going to work on this task. Now, before I can do that, I need to publish this project. That makes it official. And then I can actually start asking for people to work on it. And I do that from the resource assignment form. That's going to show me all the matching resources. Now, since I just set up this role, it's not gonna find one. So let me just say that no, that's fine. Doesn't have to be only the matching ones. But I know who my favorite is. So I'm going to pick Trisha. Actually, what am I doing here? I should be picking Trisha from USSI. And let's see. That was the wrong X apparently. I have to remember where I was. That's pretty cool. And it was the last project. And let's see. Come in here. Now you get to see it again. I'm opening the resource assignment form. I'm doing something wrong because I'm not seeing.
Maybe you should select the
Up here?
No.
No.
Above. Next to the options. Options. In the bar, yeah. View settings.
Thomas, I'm going to look at you. What am I doing wrong? I don't think it's view settings.
You can select.
Yeah. I think it is. I think it might be the search, actually. Oh, yeah. Well, project management accounting. No, she will show up in the resource list. She was there. She will show up there under both companies. No, she does not. Do I see any USI resources here? Yeah, I do. Maybe I didn't set her up in with a transfer price. No, okay. So that's the thing. Thank you. See, I could have stood here in front of you for an hour and not figured this out if Thomas wasn't here. You need a Thomas too. All right. All right. Now I should be able to schedule her. So I'm going to go back to my project. And more breakdown structure, which is published. And I'm going back to my resource assignments. And uncheck that one. All right. So I'm Prakash. I'm asking to have Trisha work for me for the whole week. I go in here. I hard assign. I want full capacity. I want it all. So now, behind the scenes, the workflow request is being created. That is the processing that you're seeing. And because oh, wait. Actually, I'll take that back. I take that back. And it's because I didn't turn on. That's another setting. I thought I went through all the settings. All right. So let me remove her from the project again. I actually have another setting that I need to set, which is making sure that we do use workflow for resource requests. Using workflow for resource requests is optional. All right. There we are. That's the right tab. All right. Using workflow for resource requests is optional. The first version of resource management that we shipped in the previous release, the first release of X7, did not use workflows. This was a net added feature in the release that we shipped last fall. So because of that, we have it working in a compatible mode so that the current version works the same as the previous one. So it's turned off by default. So I want to use it, so I need to turn it on. And I already did set up the workflows. So at this point, now let me go into my project. And under plan, work breakdown structure. All right, third time's the charm. Actually, I'm going to got to clear that out. And then we can go in, and then we can make a request. We'll find her again. We'll ask for all that, and then we're going to hard assign full capacity. Will I like to submit a resource request for requested hours? Yes, I do. That's the message I was looking for. All right. So now I submitted the workflow request. That's all I can do as Prakash. The next thing basically would be for Rina to go in and actually approve or reject that particular request. Okay, let's try that again. Whew. That's the one. And now I'm going to log in as Rina. And while I've taken the time to do that, now with a little bit of luck, the workflow request has been processed in the background. So I can go in, project management accounting, and I'm Rina. I can see that up in the top right corner. I go look at resource fulfillment. Because as a resource manager, that's what I do. Fulfill requests. And now if I look in the right company, I should find the one that was submitted. Here it is. Certain someone is asking to have Trisha assigned for 5 days. And as much as I'd like to accommodate that, I'm not sure if I can completely accommodate that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let Prakash have her for the 2 first days. And then he's going to have to settle for someone else for the next 3 days. So what am I doing here? As a resource manager, I know things about resource availability. Maybe Trisha's working something else half the week. Maybe she's just out for that week and Prakash doesn't know. But I do know that Aaron is pretty much equally capable. He can do the job as well. Maybe I talked to Prakash offline, figured out he's okay with it. So I can substitute on the fly. No need to have a long, prolonged process of rejecting comment. No, you got to ask for something else, and then back and forth. I'm just basically modifying it on the fly. So after I make this change, I can go ahead and approve. And note then that what I'm approving is the updated request as I have updated it, basically. So I'm substituting Aaron for the last half of the week, roughly. And I'm going to approve that. Okay, so now that that is done, I can go back and look being Prakash. I can look at the project. And let's see, this is WS. I'm going to go back to the project. I'm going to look at the details. And here, looking at the project team, I should see how many? 2. That's right. I see Trisha and I see Aaron. There is no booked hours.
No, sorry.
Yeah. I'm sorry? Yeah. Yeah. All right. Something, let's see, you can probably refresh that one. Pricing. Yeah, so I should say 40 hours there, and I should say staffed here after it's done processing. All right, I'm going to, instead of waiting for that, I'm just going to move right along. The next thing I was going to do, okay, so this was the resource management. This was adding the resource to the project to begin with. The next step I was going to do is to switch gears and show you something else that is new. And my plan, yes, go ahead.
Sorry, you didn't set up any price for
Aaron.
Aaron, yeah. Is that would be a problem?
That will be a problem, yeah. Not yet, of course, because he hasn't done any work yet. But as soon as Aaron reports time, if I don't have a price, I will have a problem.
So there's no warning beforehand when
Right, because I could do it at this point, right? I mean, as long as I do it before he reports time, I'll be good.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
The problem will come one day.
Yeah.
If we go on.
No, you're right.
Where does the skill set come into play? Like, do we have like the skill set is the same as the resource Trisha, or like will I be able to see, how many other resources that I have with the same level of skill set?
So Trisha has ways to search for resources by skill set. I didn't really talk to it, but I brought that screen up real quick where you can see which resources. Sorry, basically have a query. Yeah. Well, not like Trisha as a search predicate per se, but you can pick what skills are important. Yeah.
Now that Trisha is booked, does she see that into her Outlook calendar?
No.
I'm just dreaming.
Yeah.
Customers ask things like that.
Yeah. That's a fair question. She doesn't see it in her Outlook calendar, but of course she has the option in Timesheet to report time against her tasks. Oh, yeah. The question was, now that, well, he was kind of being a little facetious, but okay. It's okay. It's a legitimate request. The request was, now that Trisha has tasks assigned to her, can she see those in Outlook? I don't have that feature.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Can she see them anywhere other than the timesheet from a work planning perspective?
No, I don't have that functionality. Yeah. I'm sorry. So the question was, can she see it anywhere? Not at this point. Is there?
When the workflow is still in process and it hasn't been approved, what is the status of Trisha? Is she soft allocated, or anyone else can go and book her as well?
Thomas, the question was, so when the workflow is being processed, so say Prakash has made a request, but it hasn't been approved yet, or workflow hasn't approved it. What's the status of Trisha? Is she soft booked at that point?
She is not booked at all.
Anyone else can also request Trisha.
So Trisha is just in request, so she's not in soft book mode.
Yeah.
So if one person approves it, they'll be hard booked for that, so then the next person to approve it, it'll actually error out or give a warning, just so he's already booked for that time. If you had two parallel workflows from two separate project managers.
She will show up as overbooked, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
First past the post. Whatever.
Yeah.
So once approved, she becomes hard booked for this project. And now if she already has another hard booking in another project, she becomes just overbooked. So what happens is that if in the process of doing the request, and Trisha has been booked to some other project while being requested, the resource manager, when
Okay. Alvin? No. So how would you capture overtime prices for resources? I think was the question.
Yep. Well, different software actually do it differently. They either right now they either add a separate category. Create category.
Okay.
Which is the most common way to do it.
Yeah. Okay.
Most standard way.
Okay, that's the most common way of doing it. Okay. Cool. All right.
Standard without developing it.
Okay.
I don't know if it's common, but it's standard.
Okay, cool. All right, the next thing I'm going to show is I'm going to jump into Trisha actually entering time. And I have this cable, so I'm supposed to be able to project from the phone to the computer and up there. My success rate at doing that has been less than 50%. So I'm going to take another approach. Okay, smile to the camera.
Do you want some help carrying that?
No, I think this should work. I think it should work. Maybe.
Don't show your best work.
I should be able to put my finger here, and now it works automatically. All right, so what does this tell me? It tells me I haven't set it up yet. So let's spend about 40 minutes to set up the mobile workspace. All right, maybe not 40 minutes. All right, so I'll go into system setup this time, since this is a system-wide setting. Somewhere in here it says system parameters. I swear the screen looks much smaller when I stand in front of all of you. It's much easier to see when I'm by myself. Manage mobile workspaces. These are the mobile workspaces that are installed on this particular version that I have on my computer in the cloud. Project time entry is one of them, so I'm going to publish that. Okay, that was 40 minutes, right? So now, when I go here, let's see, where's my camera? Here's my camera. There we go. Okay. Well, it's either that or you all can kind of... Isn't that cool? That showed up. Time, okay, I guess if I have my finger in front of it, you can't see anything. All right, time entry. Actually, before I do that, let me just go back and... Yeah, I am logged in. You can see I'm logged in as Trisha. And you see the URL right below there. That's the same URL as the one that you may have noticed in the browser in my demo. So that's how I logged into the system. And in this case, I'm in USSI. So now it's Trisha. She's an employee of USSI entering time that way. Okay. Let's see. Close that one. Close that. Go in here. And I'll go in here. And let's see. Let's see on... no, let's take it today. Let's say she is going to add time. So today, she worked 9 hours. Oh, okay. I'll show you next time. Okay, it's a project lookup. These are all the projects, including the one that I just created, 25. And remember which categories you can work in? Yeah. Oh. I must have forgotten to turn on something. On the project. No, this is resource category validation. All right. And I'm going to leave line property blank because I set up the default, I think. All right. Done. And it saves. And now it shows up as a line. So project 25, 9 hours. Okay. Now, here's Trisha. No, this is not Trisha. Where's Trisha? Okay, I'm going to log Rina out because I think Rina is done for today. She's gone home, actually. So I'm going to log her out. I'm going to log back in as Trisha. And super secret. All right. She doesn't do much in AX, but one of the things she can do is work on her, or enter her time in her timesheets. So now I should have one with 9 hours. Type consult. And that was today, right? 9 hours. Now let's just, for the heck of it, type in, what's the internal comment? After work, social. I think the external one will be like planning meeting. Yeah. All right. So, all right. Let's get back to my also high-tech projection system. Hi, Kevin. All right. Let's see if it can focus any better than I can. All right. So here's the line, and it reloaded the data. You'll see the comments on the bottom there. Which one? The after work social? Oh, the line property name. Yeah, it's a French company project. That's why that would be French. All right, so that's mobile. The idea with mobile, is basically to let her capture time as she goes, as she remembers the time, get the details in right away, not have to worry about enter that at the end of the week. At the end of the week, she will see all her entries in one place, make any last-minute adjustment as appropriate, and then submit the time. Yes, sir? Is the timesheet in synchronization with absent management in HCM? No, it's still a separate timesheet for project management. Right, yeah. So using an absence project is a fairly common workaround, as you say. But yes, it doesn't synchronize up with HCM at this point. It is something we looked into, but it's not something that we picked up yet. Is it in the roadmap? I don't think so. Do you know, Kevin? Yeah, I'm not. I don't know for sure. All right. So, you guys remember my nephew? Yeah. Yeah. That's so. This is new. Basically, I did not make him an employee or a resource or anything. So basically, all that he can do at this point is to go in and enter time for someone else. As you can tell, keep it clean because, as I said, he will mess it up if he can. Oh, actually, you know what? Before I can do that, I have to set him up as a delegate. I don't think I did that. Let's see. Project management and accounting. Timesheets, all delegates. And I'm going to set him up in USSI since, actually, you know what, never mind. Since we set her up in FRSI as a resource, I'm going to actually have this timesheet go into FRSI just to sort of keep it interesting a little bit. I think this should work. So, Trisha is the timesheet resource. And Ted is my nephew. And yeah, save that. And did I log in as Ted? Yes, TE, so that's Ted. All right, so new timesheet. Control reload. Oh, actually, that's not the. Which company am I in? I was afraid I would confuse you, but I'm confusing myself more. New. So Trisha's the only one that he can enter time for. And we're going to do 1 week. And let's see. Now that should give me only that one project. And let's see. On Wednesday, she worked 6 hours. Okay. Save. Submit.
So what exactly is new about the delegate function?
He,
We've always had that.
so in the current version that's out now, Ted would have to be a resource. A resource to enter time. Correct. Yeah, and now it doesn't have to be an employee nor a resource. The scenario that we're trying to enable here is basically someone who enters time on behalf of a lot of companies in a lot of different, resources in a lot of different companies. So someone who doesn't normally themselves do project type of work is just more of an administrative function. Okay, and actually, I also did I submit Trisha's timesheet? May not have done that. So the other thing that I would need to do is for Trisha herself as well to go ahead and submit her timesheet as well. All right. So now if I look in here and I look at all the timesheets. All timesheets. I should see 2 timesheets for Trisha. Oh, sorry, I should see 1 in FRSI. This is the one that Ted submitted for her. And you can see that hopefully it's gone through the workflow. And its status been completed. Yep. All right, I don't have that. Okay, it's not been posted yet, apparently. All right, so that's the end of my demo. Thank you. Question?
So, without trying to sound too hypercritical, what is the point of using the resource management tools and project management if it doesn't go anywhere from the timesheet?
What is the purpose of using a resource management tool if it doesn't go anywhere but the timesheet?
So like the calendar or some sort of other
Well,
user schedule?
the purpose is to let you basically plan your work in the work breakdown structure, including resource assignments, and get the right people onto the project while, having people be managed across projects, basically.
And they have a way, a mechanism of knowing what projects they're assigned to?
That is not. I do not have a way for them to notify Trisha basically of.
Go in and look at her assignments and listen and see the assignments there.
Oh, okay.
But not in Allocate.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
Do you have the possibility to use other resources like rooms, machines, tools?
Is it possible to use resources that are not employees, basically?
Yeah.
That is on. That is a part of our vision, but that is not part of the functionality as it sits now. No.
The second part of that, do you know when, because I was going to ask the same question. A lot of times in service industries, if there's equipment that follows people, whatever that happens to be. And that's I love where you guys are going with how you've gone with the people aspect.
Uh-huh.
But every single time we get the question, well, what about the equipment? Whether it's tools, I work a lot in the oil field service industry. There's always equipment coming with people, and it's unfortunate because we've had to do a number of workarounds in order to do that.
Okay.
Equipment is people, or and it gets messy, or we just
Right.
don't implement it to its full breadth and depth because of some of the limitations there.
Yeah.
So, is it something you're thinking in a year, in 2 years? I've got about 3 or 4 customers that are going to be coming up from upgrades from 2012, probably in about 2 years max.
Can I have your card?
I don't have it with me, but
Okay.
I would love to discuss that with you.
Yeah.
You've got to you're building out the one side of the coin very robustly, and it's amazing. And
Yeah, and I hear the request of being able to schedule rooms or tools or whatnot as well to go with the resources. It's not the first time I heard it. I would like to hear more about the details that you're working on, though.
I have a question around scheduling versus the actual. So let's say I'm a resource and I'm scheduled in a specific project for this week, and then I have booked my actual timesheet. Is there any visibility where I can see where I was planned to, or what I was planned to do, and what I have actually done? And also, what was my planned billability versus actual billability based on my schedule and actual.
I'm going to look at Thomas again. Do you know if we have anything like reporting on resource, like plan versus actual? I don't believe we have that.
Resource scheduling is all about planning.
Yeah.
Actual, all about timesheets. The actual timesheets that
Is there any a combined view?
we don't every time we right now show the reports.
Yeah, the data's in the system.
We don't have a view. I know we have forecast versus actual, but
Right.
forecast is not linked to the schedule. Schedule is different. Forecast is totally different. So I see a gap over there that either we have a link between schedule and the forecast, so that we already have a lot of reports available to see the forecast versus actual.
Right,
I
right.
see a gap over there as well.
What's the plan with the integration between CRM project automation and this project accounting? There's a lot of overlap.
Yes.
And then also what he was asking about, just kind of color, is what about project server, which has plan versus the executable too, that has some of those functions?
Okay. So there was 2 questions. One was about the integration between the PSA, the project service functionality in Dynamics 365 for sales versus what we have here in operations. We'll have a couple of sessions on that on Wednesday. I hope you come and join us. Yes, we have plans and more details on Wednesday. The second one was about, intentionally. I want to make sure you don't go leave before Wednesday. The other question was about project server integration, and we do not have plans for project server integration at this point. We do have plans to integrate with the project client, the Windows app, where you can enter. That's something we're working on, but we do not have plans for server functionality. Finally.
Twofold my question. If I'm an employee, do I absolutely need to be assigned to a specific project and activity for me to charge my time?
No.
Against no. So my second question, is that the case, then I could have one rate apply to anything that I do, whatever the project is, I guess.
Right. So just repeat the question for those of you that didn't hear. And the first question was, do I need to be assigned to a project to be able to report time? The answer is no, you don't have to. And in that case, you'll use the default rates that are set up, non-resource specific rates.
When you did the resource planning, you used a role, but the role you can only set up 1 to n. So for a role, you only have a certain amount. One person can only have 1 role. Is it possible to do it differently? To say, okay, I have persons that have multiple skills, and then plan the resources based on these skills. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think so.
Somebody who's
sometimes you access
building a wall, but they can also do some electric, maybe. So
Right.
2 skills.
Yeah.
But
So
you only have 1 role. So
Yeah. So, Thomas, did you hear the question?
Yeah.
Actually, do you want to repeat it for me?
So, what if what if the resource manager want to assign a person to the task which the task require multiple skills? So, role itself. Am I saying it wrong?
What he's saying is you could have somebody who, is a driver sometimes, but maybe a supervisor on site because there's, for that one particular job. So they perform two different functions depending upon the piece of work.
Yeah.
So each resource can have only one default role at any given time. But that is default role. But in any given project, you can assign, say like the project require a role of driver. But person Thomas, resource Thomas, has a role of some other thing. But you want to assign Thomas as a driver to the project, that's totally fine.
Yeah, it's just more in the lookup. It's more when you're looking up to see available.
So then you search on the skill, not the role, basically.
Regarding to look up Thomas, even though I'm in the role of mechanics, for example, but I can still, in HCM, you can associate me with the skills of driver. Okay, so in that case, when you look up, in the project, when you look up for people who have skills of driver, you can still find my role is a mechanic.
So it's more lookup on skill versus role in that particular instance. If you want to go more granular. Okay, that's correct.
Let's see. So, I think I kept you here over time a little bit. Thank you. Thank you for all the comments. Thank you for listening to me. We do have a hands-on lab tomorrow. It's even later than this, where you'll have a chance to exercise a lot of the functionality that I showed you today. And then more questions, if you have more questions beyond what you talked about after here. We have an Ask the Experts service industry session on Wednesday afternoon. And I hope to see many of you there. Thank you.